Hello everybody. So today we're going to be doing a little terrarium and that you could use in your classrooms or you can just do for fun. And so I'm learning at the same time you guys are. I've done a little bit of research, but you can use it to demonstrate water cycles, etc. And so we're going to get into it really quick, but some of the things you're going to need is some aquarium rock or just regular crushed rock, some activated carbon, some filter floss or some type of plastic layer that's porous, has holes. And then you're also going to want some plants, some dirt, and then you also might need a mister bottle, and of course you need a glass jar to hold it all. So we're going to get right into it, but welcome to Filterponics, and here we go. Hi everybody, I'm Isaac Bradford, and today I'm going to try to make a terrarium. I haven't had much experience. The most amount of experience I've had was inside of a vitamin jar. I've got one plant in there. It's growing, but it's an experiment, to say the least. And so, based off of what I know, we're going to try to build a little bit more of a better one, a higher tech one, and we're going to see what we can do. I have limited supplies, probably not the right supplies, but we're going to try it out. So I've got my bottle here that I bought at a surplus store today. And so the first thing we're going to do is try to get out any chemicals that may have been in this. So we're going to use a little bit of bleach. So yeah, we'll get started here just a second. Poof, like magic, we've got our bleach now, thanks to my my sister. So you don't want to use too much bleach because then you'll end up you might accidentally stain your clothes or make a mess. And so we're just going to put a little bit in there because you don't need too much, just to kill any stuff that's in there, clean it out. And probably not doing it the safest way, but you do it at your own discretion. That's probably enough. Just a little bit. You don't need too much. Hold on. Okay. So, and you can do this with fish tanks too. Oh, I got some on my clothes. That's rough. Okay. So, you can do this with fish tanks too, and I think you use about 3/4 cup to a gallon. I use a little bit less, but it'll get out any bacteria and bad stuff that's in your fish tanks. So hold on one second. That's not bleach water, that's just regular water, but I'm trying to get the bleach off. Okay, but anyway, you can use that in your fish tanks to get rid of bacteria. You can also use it to what people call dip plants, and it's to get rid of snails, and it does euthanize them. But it's used to get rid of pond snails that might breed and overpopulate your fish tanks and kind of make a whole mess of things. But it's up to you if you want to do that, but that's just something else you use bleach in. But I've never done glass terrarium before, so we're going to try that. Okay, so now we're going to fill this back up with some water, and it smells a lot like bleach. And so now that you have your clean glass, so if you start with a clean glass, skip that first step. But my main goal today is to try to teach you guys that might know nothing about terrariums, even though I'm not an expert, obviously, just a little bit about how they work. And so what you do is you have a kind of like a little ecosystem inside of it, or you could just have plants and soil. And the plant should grow as long as you don't overwater or underwater it. And so what you do is you use a little bit of mist, which I forgot my spray bottle, which I'll have to go get in a bit. But and so when you have your plants and you water them just correctly, you can keep a water cycle going inside of the glass at all times. Excuse me. Sometimes you'll have to rewater it if you have a gap, which I don't know how tight this glass seal is, but it should work fine for what we need it to do. If not, you just got to rewater it every once in a while. Some people that really know what they're doing will add animals. I think we're just going to go for soil, plants, and water. So we'll see how this goes. So I was going to grab the mist bottle, and as I was walking to go get it out of my car, caught this little guy. You guys might not be able to see it because my camera doesn't focus, but we found a little frog. There he is. Yep. So in the creek that I've been visiting recently, there you go, little guy. The tadpoles are starting to grow their legs. So I think that guy was already older than that, but it's always possible. So if you guys look outside, you can kind of see at least in Iowa, the tadpoles are starting to grow out and get bigger. A lot of cool things going on right now in the Iowa ecosystem, so check it out. All right, I'm actually gonna go grab the spray bottle now. All right, I've got the spray bottle. I'm gonna need to fill it up though, because it's empty. And so I usually only use distilled water because I usually spray off aquarium plants with this, but it doesn't matter. And the reason I say I use distilled water is because usually it doesn't have chlorine, so it's safe for aquarium use. It does have other problems, but either way. There we go. Perfect. Mist bottle. Okay, so now that we've cleaned out our glass, whoops. Now that we've cleaned out our glass, we're gonna be able to, maybe one more time. Okay, now that we've cleaned out our glass, we're gonna put in some rocks in the bottom to act as a reservoir for the water to collect at the bottom if we over mist it, or just so that the water can collect at the bottom to complete the whole water cycle. And so for that, I'm gonna see if I can crush some biofilter ceramic rings, and if not, we'll just use some white aquarium rocks. But we'll see what works best, and I'll get back to you as soon as I try to crush some of these up. All right, so I pre-washed the pre-filter ceramic rings, and then I put them in a rag, hit them on some concrete and crushed them, and now they're washing again, and we're gonna pick them up and put them in our terrarium bottle. Whoops. So some of them might be whole, some of them might be a little bit more chip size. I'm gonna go for the chip size first, but we might have to go whole in a bit, depending on how much room there is. This is mostly just so that if there is bacteria or animals that are gonna live in there, it'll keep it healthy. I'm assuming, because that's what it does in fish tanks. If it doesn't, well, it's still a rock. So, okay, let me put some of this in here and we'll see how it looks out. All right, so I put them in here. They didn't come out quite how as I like, but we'll just put some aquarium rocks on top of it and call it good. But I'm gonna mist off the sides because we've got residue all over it. And then I can bring it up to the camera so you guys can see what it looks like right now. 1 second. All right, cool. So this is what I've got right now. So I'll probably pour out some of the water just so we don't have all that clay water in there. And perfect. We'll mist off the sides when we're done, so it won't matter. Now for some aquarium rock. I can't remember if this is all pre-washed, but I mean, it's just a trial, an experiment. If it doesn't work out, I'll just do it again. And I'll be sure to do some follow-ups with you guys just so you know how it worked out, and I can give some feedback on how you should actually do it instead. But I mean, in theory, this should be fine. Right, in theory, not necessarily in functionality. Okay, anyway, here we go. All right, so we have our false bottom now so that we can collect some water. There we go. Put a little bit of water in here. Get it all started. Perfect. Okay. I'll bring it up to the camera so you guys can see how it looks right now. And so you can kind of see how there's the water in here. And so that's what we want. We want it to be able to see all the, you want to be able to see all the water because it's a false bottom, which means it's just not the actual bottom of the ground. It's just holding the water. Kind of like an aquifer, but not really. All right. So now, something that that's going to be good for small organisms to breed on, if there is any, and also just to keep the water healthy, is activated carbon. So the first thing we're going to do is wash it, which means I'm going to have to go get some more water. All right, so I got some more water. We've got our activated carbon. So we're gonna rinse it off. Let me just get this open here. And if you're using this as a lesson or something, or teaching kids in school, you're gonna wanna not give them knives like I have. But it's all up to your discretion. So you're just gonna rinse out the activated carbon. And if you hear it buzzing like pop rocks, I don't know if you can hear it, but that's the sound it should make. So just kind of give that a shake, rinse it out. And you can buy activated carbon at fish supply stores, PetSmart, Petco. They have giant black or plastic containers full of this, what look like black rocks, but it's activated carbon. And just buy some of that, and that's all you should need. So now that we've got that, put some of this on top of our false bottom. All right, shake it all out. It's starting to look a little bit more like a terrarium. Very funky one, but still a terrarium. Let me just spray off these walls and I'll bring it on over. All right. So something you could use this this terrarium project or activity for is kind of teaching kids about the water cycle if you wanted. There's a lot of comparisons like I've kind of talked about before. And also you could talk about just kind of the growth cycle of plants as well. So that's what we're looking at right now. Looking a little bit weird, but pretty soon we're gonna have this be able to put some plants in there really quick. So let me get some stuff and I'll be right back. All right, so we've got this, right? And now we need to put some plants on there. But first, we're gonna put a little bit of a crust layer in between, just so that we have a little bit of, not really protection, but just kind of like a buffer zone between the water reservoir and the plant layer. So this barrier is just made of filter floss. You'd probably recognize it from the inside of like teddy bears or something like that, right? And so we're just gonna put that in between as a barrier between this false bottom aquifer type thing and the ground that you're growing your plants on. So I'm gonna grab my tweezers, which if you don't have these, you can buy something that has a bigger opening and you might not have to use the tweezers. But because I bought something that had a smaller opening, I'm gonna have to use my tweezers. So this is just a aquascaping kit, which I held out pretty long before I bought one, but they're pretty nice to use for like planting plants in fish tanks, etc. And they're nice and long, and so I'm just going to use it to shove down in here and make a little buffer zone. So, and I'm going to need something to hold it down, so I'll have to get some of this substrate we're going to put on top. So, substrate time. Let's see here. So I've got a mix of Seachem fluorite here. Also, nothing here is sponsored. I mean, who do you think I am? I don't have a lot of subscribers. Anyway, so here you go. So we got the fluval stratum here and Seachem fluorite, and both of these will give nutrients to the plants. They're aquarium soils. But either way, let me just rinse them off. I'm just gonna use my hands and then put some in there. But they always get full of dust and debris because they are clay-based substrates, but substrate just means soil, rocks, whatever you're growing something in. And so the fluval stratum is very loose and small debris and crushes easily, and this fluorite is a clay like based rock, right? And so it doesn't crush, but it does get dusty and it kind of makes a powder when you have it. And so I have some pre-mixed, but they're even dirtier than this, so I just figured I'd do it anyway on screen, I guess. And so this probably isn't enough, but I'll do some more when you guys aren't watching. And And so just put it in your bottle. And you can probably do this a cleaner way than I am, but I'm just doing it the fast, quick, and easy way while I'm talking, so definitely not the cleanest way possible. So I'll just, I'll fill up the rest of this, and then I will try to get this barrier to flatten a little bit so we have more room for our plants. See you then. Oh, hi. Welcome back to Cooking with Isaac. Just kidding. All right, so I've mixed up our substrates now, and I'm gonna rinse them out, and then, oh, there goes the tweezers. So, get rid of all this murky water. Don't lose your substrate. Oh, losing the substrate. All right. Oh yeah, the good thing about distilled water jugs, you can cut them up and they work pretty good containers. So now we've got this here, we're just gonna poop some in. See here. There we go. So it's probably a little bit much for what we needed, but trial and error, I suppose. I'm going to find something to try to shove down here to make sure that we can, yeah, we'll just use the funnel. So the reservoir water is a little bit murky now in the bottom here, as you can see, but you guys can still see the layers, so that's all that matters, hopefully. So let me mist this down again, and then we can put our plants in. But like I was saying before, if you guys are teachers, you can use this for a bunch of different things. I'm realizing now that it might be a little bit more messy than I originally intended it to be. Excuse me. But you can always do something like just a regular glass bottle and just put some plants in it with some soil in the bottom. Kind of like what we have here. Now, it's not the safe way to do it because you have no idea what worms, pests, etc. are in here. But the plants will still produce oxygen even if it's sealed off. So if you do have animals in here, they should be fine. Don't quote me on that, but they should be fine. So we're going to try to stick this plant pad in here. Perfect. Looking good. Okay. All right, just edge that up there. Okay, cool. I'll bring it forward in just a second. Let me just grab the next plant pad. Okay. I'm going to break this one open so we have a little bit more maneuverability with our plants. Let me just grab it by the tweezers here. Okay. And then, now it may not look pretty, but I usually go for functionality over looks. Now, you may want something different, so you'll probably have to spend a little bit more time on it. But we're gonna get this here in a second. All right, almost there. Actually, it's looking kind of decent. A little bit weird, but that's not a problem. At least not for me. Now, there's not soil all the way around, so that might be an issue. And by soil, I mean the dirt that I got these plants out of. I just pulled them out of the yard. Shh, don't tell anybody. But now I've probably put too much water in here already, but I can always just leave the lid open for a little while and the water will evaporate out. But okay, here we go. Can't really see it well, but I'll show you the finished product. So you can kind of see the layers. See all the layers, and then you got your plants. Here's a look inside. We got some clover in there, and it looks pretty nice to me. But let me clean it up, and I'll get back to you guys. Oh, hey. Yeah, so I've cleaned it up. It's looking pretty nice. However, I know I've put too much water in it. So let's put the cap on this baby. There we go. I'll bring it on over. Whoosh. Look at that. So you guys can see all the layers. We got our clover and we got our long grass in there. Now if you guys want to know some of the science behind this, I can whip it up, but if you know the water cycle, you basically know all the science. So collects in the bottom, evaporates, rains more or less, and it keeps the moisture all in there, all contained, and the plants will be able to survive as long as I haven't put too much water in there. Let's see, what should I call this? I'll call it yard in a can, because it's my yard. Well, not mine, but a yard in a can. So fitting name, right? So if you guys want to see some more of this, we'll do some more checkups on this thing and see if it died or not, because you guys want to know if I failed or not. I want to know how it turns out. So hopefully it'll be fine. If not, well, just do it again. Some things to know. Don't do it the way I did it. Be safer. Also pre-wash your plants. Make sure you have the correct soil instead of just dirt from your lawn, because you can pick up chemicals, pests, etc. Stuff you just don't want. Same with a lot of the stuff you get in nature, and also don't go picking the whole nature, otherwise there won't be anything left. I took small areas and left a lot of the plants that are still here, but they were weeds, so cleaning up the weeds. But yeah, just in general, don't take too much, leave no trace, all of that, and don't stop growing, guys. See you around.